Have you ever felt powerless? Like someone was just deliberately making your life miserable, and no matter what you did, nothing worked? That was me. Every day, people were calling me, texting me, all because of one guy, Tom. And I was done being ignored, done being disrespected. So I decided to give him a taste of his own medicine. If you've ever had someone cross the line, belittle you, or just make your life a living hell, hit that like button and subscribe, because today I'm sharing one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll ever hear. One that's equal parts petty, hilarious, and totally earned. I'd had my current phone number for about 2 years. At first, it was just my number, my personal little space in the world. But soon, that piece disappeared. I started getting calls, random calls, messages, people asking for someone named Tom. At first, I thought, okay, it's just a mistake. I explained politely every single time. Sorry, you have the wrong number. But it didn't stop. People kept calling. Real estate agents, salespeople, random strangers, all looking for this Tom. And then it got worse. Eventually, I realized something infuriating. Tom himself was giving out my number, deliberately, to businesses, to strangers, to anyone who might annoy me. At that moment, I felt a mix of emotions I couldn't even name at first. Anger, sharp like a knife digging into my chest. Frustration, that slow burn ache in your stomach when you know something is unfair and you're powerless to stop it. Betrayal, like being punched by someone you never expected to hurt you. I felt my blood pressure rise every time my phone buzzed. I couldn't even enjoy my meals without thinking, who's calling this time? What fresh hell is Tom putting me through today? Conflict escalation. I tried everything. I blocked numbers, changed my voicemail greeting, even considered changing my number. But it was pointless. Tom had clearly decided this was a game and I was the target. And it wasn't just the calls. It was the audacity of it, the deliberate trolling, the smug sense of power he must have felt every time my phone rang and I groaned in frustration. It reached a point where my patience snapped. My frustration wasn't quiet anymore. It was hot, tangible, like lava running through my veins. I wanted to make him feel that helplessness, that absolute irritation, that gnawing feeling of losing control. Turning point. So I waited. The next time a real estate agent called asking for Tom, I didn't politely explain myself. I didn't get flustered. I did something completely different, something that, in my mind, was perfect revenge. I replied with a text. Hey, it's Tom. Sorry I can't answer your call right now. I'm getting my ass fucked at a furry convention. And I hit send. I almost laughed out loud at how absurdly ridiculous it was, the sheer vulgarity, the audacity. Then I waited. Revenge execution. I sent the same text once more, just to be safe. And then it happened. Missed calls. Several of them, back to back, from who I could only assume was Tom himself. My heart skipped a beat as I imagined him fumbling, confused, flustered, maybe even panicked. I didn't answer. I didn't reply. I just waited and let the chaos I had unleashed play out. And then, silence. No more calls, no more messages, not a single person asking for Tom again. It was beautiful, sweet, pure justice.
Have you ever worked with someone who didn't want responsibility, didn't want growth, but lived for catching your mistakes? The kind of person who smiles while copying your boss on a typo. Because years later, I remembered her rule, and I followed it perfectly. If you've ever been humiliated at work, ever felt small because someone needed to feel big, then hit like, subscribe, and settle in. Because this story proves one thing. Office karma doesn't forget. Years ago, I worked on a team that ran mostly on routine. Same processes, same reports, same quiet grind. And then there was Rosie. Rosie wasn't dumb, but she also wasn't sharp. She'd been there forever, which meant she knew the rules, but not the reasons behind them. She avoided promotions like they were landmines. Any role that came with accountability, she stepped sideways. Any task that required decision-making, she conveniently wasn't available. But mistakes? Mistakes were her oxygen. Rosie didn't just notice mistakes, she hunted them. Rosie had a system. Anytime someone made even the smallest error, she'd fire off an email. Not a friendly one. Not a, hey, just a heads up. No, a cold, clinical email. screenshot attached, error highlighted, and most importantly, the supervisor CC'd. A typo, a missing spreadsheet column that had no data to fill anyway, a formatting issue nobody else noticed, every single time. You could feel her satisfaction through the screen. At first, I told myself it didn't matter, but it does. Because when your name gets copied to a boss repeatedly, even for tiny things, it chips away at how you're seen. It makes you second-guess yourself. It tightens your chest when you open email. It turns routine work into anxiety. And Rosie, she loved it. She never offered solutions, never fixed anything herself. She just pointed and smiled. Eventually, I transferred to another team. New projects, more responsibility, more trust. Rosie faded into memory, just another unpleasant chapter I was glad to close. Until years later, I saw her name again. Our team suddenly had more workload than staff. Data entry, names, dates, dollar amounts, manual input, high volume, zero room for sloppiness. Management decided to borrow help. And guess who got assigned to us? Rosie, the woman who once lived to CC the boss.
Here's the thing. I'm not cruel. Normally, when I see a mistake, I just fix it. We're human. It happens. But when I saw Rosie's errors, something clicked. Because she wasn't careful. She wasn't thorough. She wasn't precise. She was making the exact mistakes she used to publicly shame others for. Misspelled names, wrong amounts, incorrect dates. And suddenly, I remembered her rule. So I did exactly what she taught me. I took screenshots. I wrote polite explanations. Hi, Rosie. I noticed an error here. I'll correct it on my end, just wanted to bring it to your attention. And then I CC'd her supervisor. Every time. Not aggressively, not emotionally, just consistently. The same tone she used, the same format, the same energy. One error? Email. Another mistake? Email. Pattern forming? Email. I never insulted her, never accused her. I just followed her standard. At first, nothing happened. Then she started double-checking, then triple-checking, then slowing down. Her confidence drained, her posture changed, her emails got shorter. And management, they noticed. Because unlike before, this time the mistakes were frequent. No confrontation ever came. No apology, no explosion, just quiet consequences. Rosie stopped correcting others, stopped pointing fingers, stopped CCing anyone. Because suddenly, the spotlight hurt. And the best part? I never broke a rule, never raised my voice, never acted out of line. I just held up a mirror. And she didn't like the reflection. Some people don't understand empathy until they experience their own behavior from the other side. Justice doesn't always need revenge. Sometimes it just needs consistency. Conclusion. Thought we always CC'd the boss on mistakes? I worked on a team with Rosie years ago. Rosie was the kind of person who wasn't all that smart, but had done the job for a long time. She was happy to dodge any position that would give her responsibility and elated to be able to catch anyone making a mistake, no matter how small. Every single mistake that came to Rosie's attention generated an email to the person who made the mistake with a CC to the supervisor. Things like typos, spreadsheets that didn't contain all the fields she thought should be given, even when there was no data for those fields. It was annoying, but the sub put up with it. I moved on to another team and was shocked to see Rosie's name come up years later. The team she worked on was low on work, so she was put to do data entry for my current team when she finishes her tasks. The work on the current team is a lot of manual input of names, dates, dollar amounts, etc. Usually, when I see an error, I figure that everyone is human and just fix it and move on with my day. Well, unless it's Rosie's error. Then I email Rosie with a screenshot of the mistake and a detailed reason it was wrong. I let her know that I'll fix it and just wanted to bring it to her attention. I always make sure to CC her supervisor on it. Is Rosie happy? Probably not. But hey, she's the one that let me know years ago that we always CC the boss on mistakes. If this story hit home, like the video. Subscribe for more deeply satisfying revenge stories. And tell me in the comments, have you ever watched karma quietly do its job? Because trust me, we've got plenty more where this came from.